we start with Abraham. Who is Abraham's son? Isaac. And then who is Isaac's son? Jacob. Now, let's say that together. We have Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Jacob's name was changed. You know what it was changed to? Israel. So we have, let's say that together. We have Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and then we're going to call him Israel. How many sons did Jacob have?
12.
12 sons.
The 12 tribes of Israel.
Yes, Aiden, that's what I was going to say. He had 12 sons. Those turned to be the 12 tribes of Israel. Okay, now remember, Israel, that's Jacob, 12 tribes, 12 sons. It all fits together. Now, so those 12 sons, they end up going to what country? They become slaves of Egypt. Okay, then Pharaoh lets them out after many plagues and all that happens. They go out of Egypt, and then now they're wandering around the wilderness for how many years? 40 years are wandering around the wilderness. Finally, they get to go under the direction of Joshua, and they get to take over Jericho, which is this land right here. So now, Israel, the 12 tribes, they have a land. I'm sorry, I'm hitting you in the head. They have a land. Right here, it's Israel. Now, how many tribes are there? 12. Okay, so going down the road a little bit, they're in their land, they're all happy, they're all doing well, and God says, what's the first commandment?
Do not worship other gods.
Do not worship other gods. Well, guess what they started doing? They started worshiping other gods, right? And they would have enemies to come, and then they would repent, and they would turn back to God. Eventually, they said, we want a king like everybody else around us. So who was the first king of Israel? Saul. Right, who said that? Okay, good. Oh, okay, I think you sounded different. Your voice was deeper. Okay, Saul was the first king. Okay, he didn't do a very good job. Then who was the next king? A good king was David. David was the king. Then they had a lot of kings after that, but King David's son was Solomon. Now Solomon didn't do a very good job in a lot of ways because he did not obey the Lord, and he had. Now, what was the first commandment we said? Don't follow and worship other gods. Do you know what Solomon did? He had like 700 wives. I can't even wrap my mind around that. 700 wives. Okay?
How does he remember their names?
How does he remember my I don't know. I can't even remember my own kids' names. You know? He had 700 wives, and guess what? A lot of those women were from other nations, and they did not worship the one true God. Well, Solomon's heart was led astray, and he led his country into idol worship. Well, guess what God did? He said, no. He did what?
Ripped it apart.
All right, Jamie's going to rip it apart. Okay, look. Now we have Israel. It was once all together. Okay, now it's ripped apart. Now we have the northern kingdom and we have the southern kingdom. The northern kingdom, now how many tribes total are there? 12. Do you know how many are in this one? How many of the 12 do you think? You think it was half and half?
Yes.
No,
It was 2 and 12.
2 and 12.
2 and
2 and 10. 10. So 10 tribes are in the northern, which is called Israel, and 2 tribes are in the southern, which is called Judah. So let's say this. This is Israel and Judah. Again, Israel, Judah. And Benjamin. Right. Thank you, Lucas. Keep me straight. Judah and Benjamin are the 2 that are down here. It's called Judah. It's called Judah. Now, if you remember it, Mordecai, he was from the tribe of Benjamin. He was from down here. Okay? So let's separate it. Now, Israel, they're terrible. They follow idols the entire time. Well, guess what? God says, no. Flip your card around. And guess what? In 722 BC, the Assyrians come and put it in front of here. They come and take over Israel. Okay, and they're all led astray and taken captive. So Israel, they're taken prisoners and they're made slaves. Okay, you would think that Judah would learn their lesson. Do you think they learned their lesson? No, they didn't. Okay, so you can slide back there, or just put there right there. Okay, turn your card around. Now, King Nebuchadnezzar of Babylon in 586 BC, like 100 and some years later, after Israel is taken captive. It's taken captive, so come over here and come over. You're going to come into Jerusalem, take it over, they burn it down, and they take a lot of people as slaves. Now, the people of Israel, actually, the ones of Judah and Jerusalem are going to be right here. So, let's say, right here, they were here. These are Jerusalem people, Judah people, and now where are they? What country are they in now? Babylon. Say that with me. Babylon. Now, who took over that again? Nebuchadnezzar. Okay, Nebuchadnezzar is going on. Now, this is the time of Daniel. So turn around. You may know this story. Daniel and his 3 friends are who? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Okay? And what happened to them? They got thrown into the fiery furnace because they would not bow down and worship any other god except the one true God. Okay? And then Nebuchadnezzar, he's no longer the king. Now, a new king comes into place in Babylon, and it's called Belshazzar. Turn this one around. Belshazzar's not a very good king. He's having this feast, and he is using the articles from the temple, and he's feasting with him and cheering to another god. Do you think God liked that? No. Do you know what God did? He had his finger and started writing letters on the wall. What would you do? What would you do if that happened to you? If you saw a finger just appearing and writing letters on the wall, would that scare you? Well, he froze. He was in shock, and he was trembling. His knees were knocking. He was scared to death. Guess what it said? So he didn't know what it was. It was like a different language that nobody knew. Daniel comes and interprets it, and you know what it says? Your kingdom's going to be done. You're done. And that night, guess who came and took over? Darius the Mede. Okay, so now, Darius, I want you to come over here. Darius is taking over Babylon. Come right over here in front of old Neb. Hold yours up here. There we go. So you're going to go there. Now, where are the people now? What nation are they in? The Medes, and it's two nations together. It's the Medes and the Persians. Say that with me, the Medes and the Persians. So where are the Jews now? The Medes and the Persians. Now, very good. Now, okay, let's hold that one. We're gonna hold on for a second. Okay, so one of the questions you had on day 3 was, how did Mordecai end up in the Persian kingdom? We just did it, right? You see how that one Babylon took over, and then the Medes and the Persians took over. So now the Jews are where the Medes and Persians are. Now, after 70 years, God said you can go back to your home. So let's say here, we say you can go back. After 70 years, you can go back home. But now, that was only the ones who God stirred in their heart and he moved in their spirit. Did he move and stir in Mordecai's heart? Did Mordecai go back home? No, he didn't. Was he wrong because he didn't go back home? No, because God stirred only in some people's hearts. Did God have a job for Mordecai to do? Yes, he did. So sometimes God will tell some people to do something and some people to do something else, but it doesn't mean they're wrong and they're right because God told you to do something different. He has a different job for everybody. Okay, so here's the exile here. There are 3 different exiles. Zerubbabel went first to rebuild the temple, but Mordecai did not go. And who else did not go? Esther, right? All right, thank you all. Can put those off. Thank you all.